There is no substitute for proof. There is no substitute for the truth. And a lot of times we hear things and it just comes at us and we don't even know where the hell it came from. It's just somebody saying, I think, or I want, or I believe. I don't want to hear about what you believe. I don't even care about what half the people in this world believe in. I want to know what is truth. I want to know the facts. To answer to a ridiculous video put out by Gocha Alan Ramirez, who claims that the Ayuda Center is dead with the tree of hope that died, is Omar Escobar, District Attorney. Welcome back, Omar.
Thanks for having me back.
Tell me, the Ayuda Center is up and running. We got stuff happening there, right?
Actually, the Ayuda Center was sort of an idea that I had back in late 2015 about converting an old building that ROMA ISD wasn't using. And, you know, to understand this, the AS Canavan building, really the rooms, the classrooms had bad plumbing. The roof already had holes in it, so there was water seeping through it. And basically it was just a collection of dust in most of those rooms. And so the only thing that really could have operated, that was operating, was a cafeteria. But nothing else could really, be used. Even though some of the air conditions, the units there did work, but for the most part, that building could not have been used. It would have been difficult to use that building. So, the idea was to convert the building into an advocacy center because I knew that most of our families here and our victims actually had to travel to Hidalgo County to get services from forensic interviewers and then from sane nurse examiners at some of the medical complexes over there at the hospitals.
We're talking about flat out lies. The top law enforcement officer in our community, in our district, sabotaged the creation of a child advocacy center.
What did we do? What causes did we fight for? What did we do for other people? What in the end, what kind of difference did we make in a community? Because in the end, we're all going to have to face what we've done.
I want to take this opportunity to speak directly to Omar Escobar, and I want to ask you a question, Omar. When will you stop playing politics with the district attorney's office? Because what you've done has affected not only those victims of sexual assault in our community, but you've affected their families and you've affected our community as a whole. You've affected our district. You've hurt our district as a whole. By sabotaging the Butterfly Haven, you have done a serious disservice to victims of sexual assault and to our communities in this district.
Gocha, I will never stop looking out for the people of Starr County, of Jim Hogg, and Duval counties.
Continuing coverage on a funding denial out of Starr County, the money would have helped area child abuse victims. Channel 5's Valerie Gonzalez discovered when it comes to child advocacy centers, two sounds better than one, but that's not the case in Texas.
We came this close last year to having a local entity, a local children's advocacy center open in Starr County that would use local people who are fully qualified to conduct not only the forensic interviews, but the forensic exams of children that are the victims of sexual assault.
We're looking closer at why the creation of what would have functioned as a second child advocacy center in Starr County was denied. It started as a political conversation, but as we found out, there are state laws that apply.
In 2019, in February of 2019, that pediatrician, that doctor, Dr. Babineau, Dr. B, applied for a grant to open up a local child advocacy center in Starr County.
We just spent $7 million.
Dr. B was going to...
We just spent $7 million.
And this Butterfly Haven was going to provide services that go well beyond what are being provided at the present time. The advocacy center that was called the Ayuda Center was never actually opened. Unfortunately, that was an election year promise that was never fulfilled by Mr. Escobar.
Children needing help after falling victim to sexual assault in Starr County can come here. This is the Ayuda Center in Roma. It's part of the Hidalgo County Children Advocacy Center serving Hidalgo and Starr counties.
What happened after he was reelected in 2016 is he basically allowed the Ayuda Center to die. He is touting himself as thinking outside the box. He's been outside of the box for 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. The Ayuda Center has never been a fully functional children's advocacy center. This was a brochure that was put out by Mr. Escobar touting the groundbreaking just a few weeks ago. But we don't have the personnel that is necessary to use that equipment. Basically, the Ayuda Center is in the same position that it was in February of 2016 when Mr. Escobar was asking for your vote and telling you that this was going to be a fully functional children's advocacy center. It's not.
Improvements came in phases.
By January of 2018, we began providing services in the form of forensic interviews.
And we came this close to getting that child advocacy center in Starr County, the Ayuda Center, which is still not providing the services needed by victims of sexual assault in this community.
The community was formally introduced to the center at the grand opening held in December. Before then, some were unaware of what was happening here.
The Butterfly Haven applied for a grant of somewhere between $600,000 and $800,000.
We just spent $7 million.
Sometime during the summer of 2019, they were pre-approved for this grant.
We just spent $7 million.
We knew that it had opened several years ago, but honestly, since that period, had not produced any information.
Dr. Daria Babino is a local pediatrician who also serves on the Rio Grande City CISD board.
We just spent $7 million.
We're talking about flat-out lies.
She was noticing a need for certain services in Starr and neighboring Zapata County.
Currently, Starr County is kind of going through a spike in cases of sexual assault, unfortunately.
She formed a group intending to create the Butterfly Haven to provide services to young victims of sexual crimes. They started the long application process involving the South Texas Development Council.
And I was completely disappointed to find out that the reason that the local child advocacy center that was getting ready to open, the Butterfly Haven, was defunded was because of the politics being played by our local DA, Mr. Escobar.
The council scores the applications for funding from the Victims of Crime Act grant. Juan Rodriguez, the director of regional services, says of all 4 applications received this round, the Butterfly Haven scored lowest.
It was defunded by the governor's office because Mr. Escobar sent a message to the governor's office telling the governor's office that the applicant was not in good standing with law enforcement. The applicant in this case, ladies and gentlemen, was Dr. B.
One of the things that impacted their final score is that we do have a mandatory grant application workshop that they needed to attend, and the applicant did not attend the application workshop.
The second reason given by the governor's office for defunding the Butterfly Haven and for not funding this wonderful child advocacy center that we were going to have in Starr County was that local law enforcement would not be making referrals to the Butterfly Haven, as they already have other groups that they work with to meet their needs.
Concerns were punctuated when the presenters mentioned future plans.
The applicant mentioned that they wanted to apply to become a child advocacy center. That raised questions from the scoring committee because there's already 2 child advocacy centers within our region servicing the service area of Zapata and Starr County.
But I don't know how a district attorney could turn away help and tell a governor's office that local law enforcement would not be making referrals to a local entity that was willing to help the victims of sexual assault and sexual crime.
In the meantime, Rodriguez also reached out to the Child Advocacy Centers of Texas with a question. We spoke to Christina Green.
So in the case of Starr County, the Hidalgo County CAC is already officially serving Starr County. Therefore, no other CAC could be established in Starr County.
Even though these services are essential and critical, Green says the law is restrictive with purpose.
And in order to ensure the integrity of these investigations and the well-being of the child and family involved, it is imperative that things are done in line with statute and through one individual center rather than creating confusion by multiple entities offering the same service in one county.
And the third reason that was given by the governor's office, as conveyed to them by Mr. Escobar, was the director for the organization in question is under indictment for election fraud, a case that is still working its way through the judicial system.
A Starr County woman arrested for voter fraud. Attorney General Ken Paxton says the state's fraud unit arrested this woman, Bernice Garza. She's accused of using a deceased person's identification to vote illegally in the Democratic primary elections back in March of 2016 in Starr County. She faces a handful of charges, including illegal voting and providing false information.
Well, we all know, ladies and gentlemen, that Mr. Escobar was talking about Bernice Garza, a young lady who used to work for him. We know that she was vindicated and that case was dismissed.
In the end, the court denied the defendant's motion to dismiss this illegal voting case based on the accusations of prosecutorial misconduct and selective prosecution. Unless a deal is struck, the case is scheduled to go to trial next month.
We just spent $7 million.
We're talking about flat out lies.
Unless a deal is struck.
And this sabotage was done not because he believed any of what he put in his emails to the governor's office, because none of them are true, but for political reasons.
As it stands, Green says only one can serve.
They cannot provide those services in Starr County with a CAC already providing those services and established in that county.
This is a travesty. What Mr. Escobar has done to our community is damage our community. He has hurt our community. He has set back the victims of sexual assault in this community. He has damaged the families of victims of sexual assault.
Even though these services are essential and critical, Green says the law is restrictive with purpose.
And in order to ensure the integrity of these investigations and the well-being of the child and family involved, it is imperative that things are done in line with statute and through one individual center rather than creating confusion by multiple entities offering the same service in one county.
He has basically done everything that he can to sabotage a person, not because they are not qualified to open a child advocacy center, but because, once again, Mr. Escobar is playing politics.
It's interesting that the very person that is engaged in politics, who decided to run for office, criticizes somebody for engaging in his definition of politics. And the fact of the matter is that in Spanish we have a saying, el rata cree que todos lo están robando. Or another one, el león cree que están todos en condición.
Think about that. It has become a race between what is right and what is wrong, a race between good and evil, lies and the truth.
¡Que se armen los pinches chingadazos! ¡Ah! ¡Sí! ¡Bum! ¡Bum! ¡Ay, papá de la chingada!
I'm a slithery little snaky snake. I'm so slithery and sneaky because I'm a snake. slithering in your garden, catching me a mouse. Snag. I'm a snag. Look into my eyes, Jungle Book. Look into my mogul, look in my eyes. I'm a slithery hypnotist snag. I'm hypnotizing the Indian boy, so you can, I don't know, turn on that panther and join the snag. Cause I'm a snag. I'm a slither. Look at my tongue. Yeah.